What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so we are going to continue our coverage over Doctor Strange, and we're going to continue our coverage over the Doctor Strange 2018 series. And so with that being said, we actually pick up with the second half of Volume 2. Because remember, in our last video, we saw Doctor Strange fight against Doctor Strange. In reality, it was Doctor Strange fighting against one of his old students. But with that being said, that storyline was actually only the first half of Volume 2. This is the second half of Volume 2. And honestly, it does kind of wrap up everything we have covered so far with the 2018 series of Doctor Strange. Now, to begin today's story, we actually jump back 10 years ago. Now, with the story jumping back 10 years ago, we actually pick up with Doctor Strange right now buying some groceries. Now, while he's buying some groceries, you actually have Doctor Strange talking to the store owner. Now, the reason why he's talking to the store owner is because the store owner is actually very upset. He is upset about the news that he had just received. And apparently there is a new company that is trying to buy out people's homes and businesses to build a new building, a building that could bring in a lot of tourists. And so with that being said, this shop owner is very upset because this part of New York where Doctor Strange lives in is nowhere near Midtown, meaning that this is a quiet neighborhood. And he hates to see the idea of this quiet neighborhood turning into another tourist spot. And so he's very upset about it. Now, you do have Doctor Strange leave the store, but right when he does leave the store, he is confronted by a salesman, somebody who wants to buy his home. And that person is Windermere Falston. And of course, he came here to talk to Doctor Strange about buying Doctor Strange home so that they can break it down and replace it with that new building they want to build so bad. Now, of course, you do have Doctor Strange tell this guy no, because Doctor Strange knows that his house is very important when it comes to the magical world of Marvel Comics. But this guy, he has no idea about that. And so this guy is really trying to buy the house from Doctor Strange. And so you have Doctor Strange do the right thing. Invite the guy in and show him all the different scary stuff about magic that's inside this house to basically scare this man away. And so when this guy walks in, you have Doctor Strange show him every single scary thing he could possibly do in this house to scare this man off. And this man, he freaks out and he runs out of the building, meaning that that cell that he was trying to get from Doctor Strange is totally not going to happen. Now, we do move 5 years forward, but we're still in the past. We're only 5 years in the past now. And so with that being said, we actually pick up with Doctor Strange right now talking to some people from his neighborhood. Now, while he's talking to these people, that is the moment he does receive some kind of information. Now, the information that he receives is about the company that was going around trying to buy different people's homes and businesses. They have been absorbed by another company, meaning that another company had bought out the original company that was going around trying to buy different homes from these people in this neighborhood. Now, this new company has made things even worse because now they're sending gang members to go out to different homes to scare these people to sell. And so with that being said, you have Doctor Strange and this old lady actually see some gangs leaving a house. And when they do, they see the house blow up, meaning that the gang members went to that house, tried to make the owner of that house sell. The owner said no, but when they left a bomb in there and it blew up. And so you have Doctor Strange run in there to make sure the person who owns that home is okay. Of course, he's knocked out, he's badly injured, and so you have Doctor Strange use his magical powers to keep that person alive, but now he knows whoever this new company is, they have gone too far. Now, after that moment, you do have Doctor Strange go after the owner of this new company that's out there sending thugs to scare people to sell their homes. And so when he finds the owner freaking out because the owner is looking out the window and realizing the police has arrived at his headquarters. And this is Doctor Strange saying that thanks to his magical powers, he was able to figure out where the bomb came from, who made the bomb, and all the clues led back to this guy right here. Because he is the owner of this new company that is trying to get rid of everyone in the neighborhood that belongs to Doctor Strange. Now, you do have the cops arrive, and the cops cannot see Doctor Strange because right now he's in an astral form. But either way, though, you do have the owner of this new company say, listen, I'm just a henchman. Yes, I do own this company, but someone else higher than me is trying to buy your neighborhood. And that person will not stop until they get what they want. So if I was you, Doctor Strange, I will look for a new home because my boss, he will not stop until he gets what he actually wants. But now we move forward 3 years. So now we're only 2 years in the past. But with us still being in the past, now we pick up with some people from the neighborhood coming to Doctor Strange with some bad news. Because that company who has been trying to buy out all the homes that belong to the different people in this neighborhood, they're back once again. But they realize they need to get rid of one person if they're going to be able to actually buy this neighborhood. And that person they need to get rid of is, of course, Doctor Strange. And so what they did was they went to the press and told the media that there is a man named Doctor Strange who basically does magic, but his magic is demonic magic. He's basically using demon magic in this home, in this neighborhood. And so now you have other people in this neighborhood who were not close to Doctor Strange basically right now protesting to get him out of their neighborhood. And the company that wants to buy this neighborhood so bad knows if they're able to get rid of Doctor Strange, then nothing can stand in their way to get this neighborhood like they always wanted ever since the very beginning of this storyline. And so, of course, that upsets Doctor Strange. And so what he does next is he gets a lawyer and he goes meet up with the company lawyers to have a discussion about what they have done to his name in the media. Now, when it comes to Doctor Strange's lawyer, his lawyer is not your usual lawyer. It's not like he called up Matt Murdock or Jennifer Walters. No, he called up some random demon as a way to scare these regular human lawyers, because this demon, he is a lawyer, but he's a scary one. And so, of course, they're all like, okay, listen, we're in the wrong. So we'll basically call up every single news channel and tell them that we lied about everything we said about you. But then we finally reach the present day. And when we do, we actually pick up with Doctor Strange opening his front door because apparently somebody had knocked on the door and they want to talk to Doctor Strange. Now, when he opens the door, that is the moment he is confronted by some random man. Now, this random man had apparently been the one who has been trying to buy this neighborhood. And of course, you have Doctor Strange says no once again. Now, after he said no to this guy actually turns into a demon. And that is the moment you have this demon explain everything about this story so far. And what the demon says that originally he was not the person who was trying to buy this neighborhood. Matter of fact, the guy that Doctor Strange scared away 10 years ago, he was just trying to buy this neighborhood to basically build that tourist spot. But when Doctor Strange scared him away, that guy right there actually called up this demon. And this demon was down to basically bring down Doctor Strange because this demon hates Doctor Strange. But on top of that, you had the demon tell us that once he took over where the first guy left off at, the demon said he has been trying to buy this area because under this neighborhood is a gate, a nexus point that could unlock and release powerful demons into this world. And so that's why this demon has been trying to basically buy this neighborhood to open that gate. Now you have Doctor Strange tell this demon he had no idea about the gate at all. And matter of fact, the only reason why he has been protecting this neighborhood is because he cares for the people. That is it. This man was not living here to protect some kind of gate that could unlock powerful demons. Instead, he was only being here and staying here because he loves this area and the people in this area. And so you do have Doctor Strange basically beat this demon and the day is saved. But hold up, the story is not done just yet, because that is the moment you actually have an epilogue. Now, this epilogue is going to be very, very important, because that is the moment you have the epilogue kind of remind us about the origin of Doctor Strange, how he was trained by the Ancient One. And the Ancient One is supposed to be a very, very powerful magical being in Marvel Comics. But that is the moment you actually have the Ancient One appearing in the home of Doctor Strange. And the reason why? Because the Ancient One needs the help of Doctor Strange. And right now it seems like when it comes to the Ancient One, he's no longer as powerful as he was when he was training Doctor Strange. And so when he comes to Doctor Strange, he tells Doctor Strange, I need your help. I need you to be my master. I need you to teach me. And you have Doctor Strange like, wait a second, Ancient One, you train me. Why in the world do you need me to train you? And so when we jump into the next chapter, you actually have Doctor Strange tell the Ancient One that he does not need to beg for help. And matter of fact, the Ancient One does not need to kneel in front of Doctor Strange. Because when Doctor Strange looks at the Ancient One was the person who made Doctor Strange Doctor Strange, because the Ancient One trained him. On top of that, he looks at the Ancient One as an old friend. Now, you do have Strange actually tell us that when it came to the Ancient One, the last time he saw the Ancient One was when the Ancient One actually was going into the astral plane. He was living there. And you have the Ancient One say, yeah, I was there and I was minding my business until I was grabbed by somebody. Now, the person that had grabbed the Ancient One is a character we actually saw in our first video covering Doctor Strange 2018 series. And what I mean is that back in the very first video we did, where we had Doctor Strange going around the universe trying to find different magical artifacts as a way to revive his magical powers, well, this guy right here got word of that, and he got very upset with the idea that Doctor Strange was doing that. And so with that being said, now he's back once again, because the last time we saw him, the only thing we saw was he was very upset and we never saw him again. But now he's back and now he's going after the Ancient One. Now this guy, we have no idea what his name is just yet, but he did bring a demon with him. And the demon that he brought with him digs in the mind of the Ancient One. And he was able to take out a certain part of the brain that belonged to the Ancient One. And that part of the brain is where the Ancient One kept all his knowledge of magic. And so right now the Ancient One has no idea how to use magic, because this demon took it from him, and we still have no idea who this guy is and what he wants with Doctor Strange, and also why he took the knowledge of magic from the Ancient One. Now, here comes the big problem with the Ancient One losing his knowledge of magic. Because with the Ancient One losing his knowledge of magic, that means he could possibly die. And what I mean is that when it comes to the Ancient One, he's a very old man, a very old being. And so he was using magical spells to keep him alive. But now those spells are no longer around because he forgot how to use magic. He lost all the knowledge he had of magic. And so sooner or later, this man is going to die. And so you have Doctor Strange realize that and say, okay, I need to teach this man everything I know about magic as a way to keep him alive. On top of that, I can give him part of my soul to keep him alive just a tad bit longer until I'm able to get the knowledge of magic that he used to have back over to him. Now, here comes the thing though. After you have Strange do all those different things, he tells Bats, the ghost dog, that he'll be right back because he thinks he knows where to go to actually get the knowledge of magic back for the Ancient One. And so he teleports to a different dimension. Now, when you have Doctor Strange reach this other dimension, and when he gets inside there, that is the moment he comes to find out that this dimension is some kind of office dimension. And what I mean is that he sees a bunch of creatures right now just working away their day like they're in the office, just working on different projects with different clients, like this actually is an office. And he's kind of like, what in the world? Where am I? What is this place? But that is the moment he does see a door. Of course, the door does lead into the boss of this area. That is the moment he comes to find out the person in charge is some kind of head accountant. And this is the same character we have been seeing the whole time in this video and also in our first video. The same person that has stole the knowledge of magic from the Ancient One. Now, with that being said, you have this head accountant tell Doctor Strange that the reason why he's coming after Doctor Strange and the Ancient One because they have a huge debt. Now, that right there is very important because if you have been watching my videos on the 2018 series of Doctor Strange, we have been hearing that over and over again. And it has been used a lot for a lot of key points in this series, meaning that when you use magic, it always comes with a cost. Magic always comes with a cost, and that cost is unknown. You never know how in the world you are going to repay that cost. And so with that being said, you have this accountant guy saying, listen, when it comes to you and the Ancient One, you guys owe a lot. And I mean a lot. And so with that being said, you need to stop and listen to me. And matter of fact, I have captured some of your friends that you are very close to. For example, Wong, also on top of that too, Kana and Zelma. They're all right here locked up because you have never paid back your costs for using magic. Your debt is so big and so huge, you cannot imagine what is possibly going to come down the road for you and your people on Earth. Now, you would think that Doctor Strange will let this guy explain what he means. But of course, Doctor Strange does not do that because as soon as the accountant had revealed that he was holding on to the friends of Doctor Strange, you had Doctor Strange begin the process of fighting back against the accountant. And so with that being said, at first, Doctor Strange can't do anything at all because the accountant is a very powerful magical user. But with that being said, though, when it comes to Doctor Strange, he did learn some martial arts. And so he's able to use his hands and feet to actually beat the accountant, get the key, and to let his friends go out of the cages that the accountant had them locked in. Now, after all of that, that is the moment you have the accountant explain everything to Doctor Strange. Explain how that when it comes to Doctor Strange using magic, magic always comes with a cost that Doctor Strange had never paid back. And so with that being said, you have the accountant explain to us that where magic comes from, because magic comes from powerful beings who has connections to different planets across the universe. And so for many years, Doctor Strange was using magic, or really borrowing magic, from powerful beings who have connections to Earth. Now, with that being said, though, he never paid back what he was owed to pay back to them. And so with that being said, he just kept using magic and kept building on his debt. Now, the accountant tells us that he was the one who cut off Doctor Strange's powers because Doctor Strange's debt debt was getting way too big. And with the debt getting way too big, you had the accountant say, like, listen, I had to stop you because your debt was getting too huge. There is no way you could have paid it back. And so that is why I cut off your powers, which explains why our very first video showed a Doctor Strange who had no magical powers, because the accountant was the one who had cut him off to stop him from building up on his debt. But then we saw Doctor Strange go to different planets across the universe to borrow their magical artifacts, hoping that it would revive his magical powers, which then of course kept building on the debt of Doctor Strange, because now he was borrowing magic from other powerful beings from different planets. And so his debt is so huge, it's so wild, that somebody say, listen, to make Doctor Strange pay back all the debt that he's owed, he must lose his entire planet. To pay back everything he has used over the years to basically get rid of all of his debt, the entire earth must be taken over by a certain powerful being. And that is the moment we come to find out it is Dormammu. And this is huge because when it comes to Dormammu, he's always been trying to come into the Earth dimension. He's always been trying to take over the Earth. And matter of fact, he's Doctor Strange #1 villain. When most fans think of Doctor Strange, they think of Dormammu, the bad guy. Now, with that being said though, Dormammu has always been trying to come into the Earth dimension. He always been trying for so many years, but he finally found a way. And the reason why I say that is because Doctor Strange owes debt to a lot of people, but Doctor Strange also owes a debt to the Flat Teens, the race that Dormammu belongs to, meaning that Doctor Strange had used magic that came from the Flat Teens. And so with Doctor Strange using magic from the Flat Teens but never paying them back, Dormammu said, nope, that is not okay. And so with that right there, I am finally going to make you pay us back by sacrificing your entire Earth. And so Dormammu found a way to finally get on Earth and hoping to finally take over the Earth. Now, you do have the friends of Doctor Strange, like Hana asked Doctor Strange, hey man, listen, what can we do to stop him? We'll follow your lead, but we need your help right now. How can we stop Dormammu? And you have Doctor Strange say, we can't do anything at all because we have already lost. Now, you can basically ignore everything Doctor Strange said earlier when it came to the idea of him saying that we have already lost, because in reality, this man basically had a plan for this already. And so what he does is he teleports his allies away. He teleports them over to the accountant office to look for something very special that could possibly help them win against Dormammu and his forces. And so while his friends are looking for that certain item, that is the moment you have Doctor Strange fight against Dormammu. Now, when I say fight against Dormammu, I really mean to keep him busy, because with Dormammu being here in the Earth dimension, he is already stronger than Doctor Strange. On top of that, Doctor Strange is very tired because he went through a lot in this storyline so far. And so right now, it's kind of like he really can't do much against Dormammu. He just has to keep Dormammu busy long enough for his allies to find a certain item. And that item they're looking for is actually the knowledge of magic the Ancient One lost. Because remember, the accountant brought a demon that took that knowledge out of the mind of the Ancient One. Now, you would think that they're going to take that knowledge and give it back to the Ancient One. But in reality, they are not going to do that, because they add the knowledge of the Ancient One to their own minds. And actually, that is a good idea, because when it comes to Dormammu and his forces, they are very powerful characters. They can wipe the Earth out very quickly. And so with that being said, you don't have time to go get the Ancient One, put the knowledge back in his head, and then bring him back over here to fight against the forces of Dormammu. Instead, why don't you add the knowledge of the Ancient One to your own minds? Because now you have more bodies on deck to actually fight against the forces of Dormammu. It is actually a great plan, because while Doctor Strange is keeping Dormammu busy, Dormammu does not realize that his forces are being taken out left and right. The allies of Doctor Strange, with the knowledge of the Ancient One, are able to take down the forces of Dormammu, and Doctor Strange is keeping Dormammu busy long enough that by the time he realized, every single person he brought with him is already gone. Now, you do have our heroes all come together to actually stop Dormammu. Now, you would think that with all our heroes here together right now, fighting against Dormammu with the knowledge of the Ancient One, you would think that he would lose so easily to our heroes. But of course, this is Dormammu. He's been around for such a long time in Marvel Comics, and also the fact that this dude owns his own dimension in the Marvel Universe. And so he's really powerful. He's not someone who can be beaten so easily. And so our heroes, they can try their best, but there is a possibility they could lose. As a matter of fact, they begin the process of losing because how powerful Dormammu is. And you would think that with the knowledge of the Ancient One in their minds, they had the edge over Dormammu. But of course, it does take a lot of time to process all the information that the Ancient One knew to figure out a plan to actually stop Dormammu. And so while you have our heroes about to lose to Dormammu, they are actually saved by the Ancient One. He comes in, he blasts Dormammu once, and Dormammu is gone forever. Not forever, but gone for this storyline. Now, the book really ends right there because right after that moment, you do have our heroes kind of regroup at the home of Doctor Strange. But with that happening, though, you do have our heroes all happy that they were able to get rid of Dormammu. Now, you do have most of the allies of Doctor Strange leave except one, and that one is Kana, because Kana was someone introduced to us at the very first video we did of Doctor Strange in this series. And she was introduced to us as a possible love interest to Doctor Strange. But of course, he did mess up things between them. But with her coming back here to actually help him fight against Dormammu and him showing that he'll try to be a better person, she begins to believe that there is a possibility that they could get back together and possibly have a relationship once again. But this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.